Yes, good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Welcome back to Football Heritage TV. Let me sort my camera out. First and foremost, happy Sunday to everybody. It's a lovely, lovely day after what was a frustrating Saturday afternoon stroke evening for Tottenham Hotspur fans. Let me start by saying this. Let me address this from the get-go. Give your head a wobble if you are discriminating against a footballer because of the colour of his skin. Give your head a bloody wobble. What are we doing here? It's 2026. Racism should have died back in the 50s and 60s. What are we doing here? Footballer makes mistake. Not even the biggest mistake I've seen all season, by the way. Romero does that every week. Footballer makes mistake. Let's talk about the colour of his skin. What are we doing here? Come on, guys and girls. Those fans, I'm going to call it, those fans, you deserve relegation, right? Those fans, you deserve relegation. Absolutely deplorable, despicable. What are we doing here? What are we absolutely doing? Say what you want. You don't rate him. You thought he was shit at the end, which I don't think he was, by the way. I think he had a great game until the last minute. But what are we doing here? Come on. That's all I'm going to say on it. But guys and girls, it doesn't matter whether someone is male or female. It doesn't matter if they're black, white, blue, pink, grey, turquoise. I don't care. It doesn't matter if they're gay. It doesn't matter if they're straight. It doesn't matter if they swing every which way. What does it matter? This is meant to be football. Keep it football. No place for it. All right? No, we've got enough shit going on at this football club that we don't need to add racism to the mix. All right? That's all I'm going to say on it. Now, let's talk about Tottenham Hotspur. Tottenham Hotspur without the H, as my little nephew says. The Hotspur. So close, but yet so far. And the more I've had time to let it sink in, the more I think about it. There's just not enough quality, is there? Like in the final third, there's not enough quality. We're not going to punish teams. We're not going to punish teams, unfortunately. I thought we were much better yesterday. Doesn't mean we were amazing, right? Doesn't mean we were amazing. I know. I saw in my chat yesterday, if you say a player played well, apparently it means you think they're amazing. No, I thought we played much better yesterday. I thought the shape looked better. But ultimately, there is not enough quality in this squad. Nothing is going to change my mind. Spurs could win the next 5 out of 5. No one is going to be able to convince me that we have enough quality as a football club. Going forward, and I will say this, I'm going to say it, I'm going to be petty. For anyone who didn't want Javi Simmons to start games, give your head a wobble. A lot of wobbling going on today. A lot of head wobbling. He is the only player in our squad that's fit. I'm not counting Maddison as fit yet. That has the quality to create. He is the only one. And we have sat here, not everyone, fans have sat here for weeks and weeks and weeks going, he's not suitable for a relegation battle. Yeah, the guy that creates isn't suitable when you need to win games and score goals. It's absolutely crazy. And we saw it yesterday. 2 moments of brilliance from Javi Simmons, right? 2 moments of brilliance. Yes, he's frustrating. Yes, I get it. He's frustrating. Yes, he goes to ground. And yes, he's not the strongest. But he is capable of moments. Absolutely, Aussie, Coys. Wobble City. I like that. Sounds like somewhere I'd like to visit. Who's coming on holiday with me? We're going to Wobble City. All the name of a really shit strip club. Isn't it? Wobble City. Anyway, look, what do you do, right? I don't think in any way, shape or form Javi Simmons has had a season where we're going to look back and go, oh my God, he set the world alight. But I worry if there are fans that truly can't see the ability in him, then I truly, truly do worry. I truly, truly do worry. And again, yesterday, other than Javi Simmons, who thought that anyone else, at what point did you think that Solanke was going to score a goal? At what point did you think Mawani was going to create or score? At what point when Tell came on did you think he was going to do anything? Right? He's got to play. He's got to play, guys and girls. We've got to stop having this. And as I said, there's a reason we've not been scoring many goals and creating many chances. Because if you leave your creative players on the bench, this is what happens. When you bring them on with 5-10 minutes to go, you're asking for miracles. You're asking for people to get up to pace with the game. You're asking for them to suddenly get in the middle of it, fit straight in. And unfortunately, this is, we could go back for months, but this is what loads of us said. Loads of you said it in my chat before the Forest game. We said, we're at home against Forest in a game where we must win, and we've left Javi Simmons on the bench. We then go to Sunderland and go, right, Sunderland are safe. They're in no trouble at all. We must win at Sunderland. What do? We go there and we don't play Javi Simmons. Now, this doesn't mean, guys, that every game we play, Javi Simmons is going to get a goal and an assist. It doesn't mean that. But he's capable of those moments. Look how many fouls he wins. Right? A bit like Grealish. Look how many fouls he wins by driving at teams. Right? And Rick, you're absolutely bang on. You're absolutely bang on, Rick. He scored 2 and created 1 versus Madrid. And then Brighton, he scores 1 and creates 1. And he was dropped for the 2 games in between. So in our last 4 games, he scored 3 and created 2. He's got 5 GA in the last 4 games and didn't start 2 of them. It's truly baffling. I'll be honest, I think De Zerbi absolutely messed up last week. I thought he got it right last week. Listen, oh my God. By the way, I'm just going to say, if I get these people in my show this morning who are just relentlessly going to talk about Ange Postecoglou, I am going to block you. I am so bored of hearing that man's name. Oh my God, it is so fucking boring. I'm so bored of it. Woke up this morning, the first message said, Ange finished 5th. Well, no, in Ange's last season, he finished 17th and lost 22 games. By the way, this year, we can't lose 22 games. The most we can lose is 21. So please, can we stop this whole Ange forever? I would get it, right? If we finished 5th last year, I would get this conversation. But last year, the man lost 22 league games. And all of a sudden, everyone's just going, we wouldn't have lost that if Ange was here. If Ange was here, oh my God. Are we ever going to be able to stop this conversation about Ange? It's so boring. Go on. There's plenty of other channels who love him. Go and talk on that channel. Since Ange, we've had Frank Tudor and now De Zerbi. Ange was 3 managers ago, 4, depending on which way you look at it. Move on. Every comment doesn't need to be about Ange. Bloody Postecoglou. Oh my gosh. These fans talk as though the rest of us don't know he won a trophy. I get it. But you know what, guys? Do you know what? I saw one day Ramos win Spurs a trophy. No one bangs on about one day Ramos. No one's banging on about George Graham. Stop. It's boring. It's boring. We should be worried. And this is it. This is it. Spurs at the moment look like we're going to be playing teams like Portsmouth and Lincoln in the Championship. And people are out here thirsting for a manager that only got 38 points last season and lost 22 games. This is bigger than Ange. This is bigger than Frank. This is bigger than Tudor. Right, dude, one more, you're gone. I can't be any clearer. One more, you're gone. Own what? Own what? The guy lost 22 games. The guy lost 22 games. By the way, he lost 22 games in a season where the bottom three were absolutely horrific. Can we just stop? Please, for the love of God. Ange, if you're listening, thank you for winning us a Europa League. But please, for the love of God, can you tell your little cult following to move on? Please. Oh my God. Every day on YouTube is just killing me. Just so fucking boring. So boring. Oh. Anyway, as I said, those fans, they deserve relegation as well, because no one's looking at what the problems that are actually in front of us. What we should have been annoyed at is, why didn't we do what we needed to in the summer? We'll go back to the game in a minute, but why didn't we do what we needed to in the summer? This is what I don't get. This cult of Ange, they're more worried about that than Spurs not actually acting like a proper football club and backing football managers. It's got really, really boring now. Move on, please, for the love of God. Please, for the love of God, can we just stop? Like, some of us have supported Spurs for 40 years, right? 40 years I've supported Tottenham, and I've never, ever known such a cult following. I thought the cult following of Pochettino was crazy when he left. The Ange cult following is something, he's gone. Move on. Are you Spurs fans or Ange fans? What you should be worried about isn't fans like me who don't rate Ange. You should be worried about the board. You should be worried about the squad they're putting together. You should be worried about what's happening to our football club. Our fan base used to care about the team. Now we care about injustice for one manager. And I think that's the problem. They're actually making the fact that we won it less and less enjoyable. It's less and less of a good memory for me now, because these people just bang on about him every show, every single show. Just move on, for the love of God. I don't believe in God. The love of the football gods. Please, just move on. It's absolutely mad. This is where we should be at. This is where we should be at. Enoch. This is where we're at. Guys. Dude, I warned you. One more, you're gone. See you later. See you later, mate. I warned you. I warned you. Do you know what makes me laugh is, how many years, if for anyone who's watched me week in, week out, how many years now have I been saying I don't rate this squad? These Ange fans always say, oh, you never said it was the players. Yes, I did say it was the players. I've said it's the players for years. That doesn't mean I like, oh my God, honestly, somebody out there, give me the strength to YouTube moving forward, because it is just so difficult. We can never have a conversation about the present. We can't have a conversation about now. Anyway, and this is it. See the grey. Yeah, I've seen managers like Venables. Yeah, you think the Birkenshaws, the Nicholsons. Oh my gosh. Anyway, so yesterday, let's talk about the game. Did we set up right? I think we did. I think that he got it right. He had, again, what I said last night on Spurs 5, I'll say again here. What he's got that the other managers haven't, that Frank and Tudor haven't. This manager's got options. So it was always going to be very interesting to see what he did with yesterday's team selection. Now, I thought he got it really, really badly wrong against Sunderland. Yesterday, I think he got it very, very right. Now, there's a limit to what he can do, though. Same as any other manager, there is a limit to what they can do. There's not enough quality moving forward. We know that. We know there isn't enough quality moving forward. So the problem you're going to have is if you concede 2 goals in a game, do Spurs have it in them? Do Spurs have it in them to score 3 a game? And this is always going to be the trade-off. And Stell made a really good point on the Spurs 5 last night. He said, we always talk about the defence, but they've got so much pressure on them because the forwards don't do their job because they're not good enough. And I thought he was bang on with it. He was absolutely bang on with it. Now, that doesn't mean you remove all blame from defenders, but the pressure we put on these guys at the back because we can't score is truly, truly worrying. And again, I think what it showed yesterday was the depth of the squad isn't what people think it is. Again, I think it showed yesterday when we swapped out the senior pros for the younger players, I thought that the performance went all a little bit west for me. I think it all went a little bit west, south, whatever you want to say. I thought we looked solid. I thought Van der Ven and Romero both were very good. I thought they were very good. We'll talk about the goal at the last minute at the end, but I thought for the main part, I thought Van der Ven and Romero looked very good together. Van der Ven and Danso looked very solid together. I prefer that as a partnership because I think you get more stability in terms of Danso doesn't go wandering. You know, Danso actually just defends his box and clears headers and I thought we looked better through the midfield. Definitely, I think Rodrigo Bentancur, I think a lot of people that have been very harsh on Bentancur. Again, I think Bentancur's a decent Premier League midfielder, but he did his job. He does his job. He sits in front of that back 4 and he just shields, doesn't he? Not your typical DM, not a DM like Paulinho. Doesn't go flying into tackles, but up there, he's very quick. He's not quick down there, but up there, he's very quick. He knows where to be at the right time. He puts out fires. He breaks down dangerous play. And I thought with Basuma and Gallagher in front of him, I thought those two, I thought their energy, their work rate, their tackling, they were first to every ball in the first half. I think, you know, in the second half, I think you could see Basuma. Again, he's not played a lot of football. So I think you can see that Basuma and Bentancur were going to struggle for 90 minutes. But I think you saw when Basuma and Bentancur came off, I think you saw the levels between them two and Gray. And that is why, for me, Gray should have been on loan all this time. And when you think about it, the last 13, 14 league games, Gray's played every game in central midfield. I'm not blaming him, but again, it just shows he's not ready. I think yesterday showed the levels to me of what you need to compete. You need the maturity, you need the experience. So I think we looked solid for the most part. Second half, I thought Brighton started the better. I think you would expect that. They had the goal right on the stroke of half time to give them momentum. I thought we weathered that storm for the first 5-10 minutes of the second half. And then I felt we grew into it again. And then unfortunately, I think the substitutions, whether they were forced due to fitness or not, I think they slowly but surely swung the game into Brighton's favour. When you looked at the subs Brighton were making, I mean, let me make sure I get this right. If I look at the subs that Brighton were bringing on compared to Spurs, and this is the difference, right? When people say we're a big club, well, look at the difference between Brighton are bringing on the likes of De Kuipers, right? Mitoma, O'Reilly, Rutter. You know, like they're bringing on 4 really good footballers. We brought on Gray, Kell, Berg. Do you know what I mean? And I think that's the difference, right? You've got to have the squad. And this is why in the summer, I'll go back to it again. This is why I wanted Spurs to go out and buy some senior pros. Yeah? You can't have all of these. You can't. So, look, in the main, I thought it was if I was going to score that performance, I'd give it a 7.5 out of 10. I thought it was much better. But again, I just think we look toothless going forward. We look absolutely toothless going forward. Again, let me give him his credit, and then I'll talk about what I thought was bad about his display. When I look at Dominic Solanke, I thought he did some really good things in the game, right? But for me, I thought he did a lot of good things, but that didn't affect the game, that didn't hurt the opposition. So he did a lot of running the channels, a lot of holding up the ball, a lot of driving down the wing. But there wasn't a lot of, right, is he going to get the ball 15, 20, 25 yards from goal and look like scoring? Well, he never does. And that's the problem, right? Tell, when he came on, again, nothing. Just absolutely nothing. There's no end product from the boy at all. I thought he showed some nice touches. I said to someone yesterday, I felt like when he gets the ball on the halfway line and he's got to hold it up and lay it back into the defence, I think he does well. But as a forward, there's just no real threat. It's not that he's a terrible footballer. There's no threat. There's no part of me ever thinks that he's going to get the ball and it's going to end up nestling in the bottom corner. Moani. What is a Colo? What is a Randall Colo Moani? What is it? Answers on a postcard. So I think we played well. I think we did well for what we've got. I think we did well. I think we looked in the game. We looked in the fight. It was the first time in a long time I felt like we're in a game. Like, do you know what I mean? I felt like the first time in a long time, it felt like we were actually in the game, to and fro, back and forth. You know, it looked like the midfield was competing and winning balls. And, you know, and we know Brighton had more passes and possession. We knew that was going to be the case, right? They've got better technical footballers than we have, right? But I thought we defended brilliantly in the first half. To be honest, I think Brighton in the first half, look, I think it was a lovely finish by Matoma. We can talk about should Porro have been out there marking him a bit closer. Yes, but it was a lovely goal by Matoma. Sometimes, by the way, it is okay to say that the opposition scored a good goal. I think that we've lost that in football. Not every goal needs to be someone's fault. But I didn't feel too threatened by Brighton. I thought they had some of the ball in the first half, but I didn't actually feel too threatened by them. Second half, I think as the game wore on, I think as we made our changes, you could see that Brighton were slowly but surely starting to take the ball, a lot of possession, start to ask questions. But I'll be honest, I didn't really feel under that much pressure either until the goal. And look, could Danso have just cleared it? Yes. I thought he had a fantastic game up until that moment. I thought he had a really good game up until that moment. And look, these things happen. I get it, right? But the problem is at the other end, we don't look like scoring goals, people. We don't look like scoring goals, do we? I mean, Gray, I'm not blaming him before anyone has a go. I'm not blaming him, but, you know, the 97th minute, the 96th minute, he's what, 12, I don't know exactly, 12, 15 yards. You're thinking, just rifle your foot through it. Just put your laces through that shot. And he done what Tell does when he shoots. And when Odegaard, they seem to just p-roll the ball at the goalkeeper, same as Richie. And the difference, I'm not saying about Gray, Kane or Son, they don't p-roll the ball at the goalies, do they? They bend it round the keepers. Defoe, Keane, what do these boys do? James Maddison, by the way, he can finish his dinner. So, look, what I would say is much better performance. The problem we've got, right, with this is, and fans, you know, I was having a chat last night with Dan Potts from Football's 12-Man podcast. Big up to Dan, absolute legend of a guy. Even though I do hope your team gets smashed to pieces today, Dan, if you're watching. And he said that the problem is playing better is great, but unfortunately we're not at the stage of the season where playing better wins you points, right? You've got to win games. And that's the shame for me. That's the shame for me, is that we did play better. People can talk all day long about deserving wins. You deserve the win if you win it. We can talk about deserving the win. Yesterday, I think a draw was a fair result because we didn't get over the line. People think that's harsh, but that's the reality. People say last week we didn't deserve to lose to Sunderland. Well, we did. So I don't think we threatened their goal. Right? So if I take my Spurs hat off and analyse football, it's very different to those that can only see from Spurs. Again, I go onto YouTube channels last night and I see nonsense about referees. What are we blaming the referee for this time? The referee didn't do anything wrong. We're in this position because we have bought lots of kids who aren't ready, lots of senior pros who aren't good enough. We haven't bought left wingers. We haven't bought right wingers. We haven't bought goal scorers. We haven't got ball playing midfielders. We've got average goalkeepers. We don't have very good fullbacks. We're not in this position because of referees. We're not in this position because of pundits. We're not in this position because of Danso. Right? Someone's here say Danso's got us relegated. Oh, have a day off. Have a day off. Danso's got us relegated. Again, unfortunately, there are people like this that aren't listening. See, these people don't listen. You've got to feel for these people. Can you imagine, right? With people like that, I can only imagine in my professional day job, if this was a member of my team and I gave a team meeting and then an hour later, someone comes back and said, did you say to do this? And I go, no, that's not what I said at all. Like, it would drive me crazy. Yesterday, the performance was better. But as I said, the result. Look at the title of my bloody show. It says better performance, same outcome, right? So I'm saying it doesn't matter if the performance is better. Honestly. Look, we're running out of time. We have got 5 games to go. And I was just talking backstage with Perchy. And yeah, he's waving at me in the backstage. And the problem we said is, if Forest win today, and if West Ham win tomorrow, there are 5 games left, and we will need to have a 2-win swing on both of those clubs. So, let me make this clear. If Nottingham Forest and West Ham both win this weekend, so Nottingham Forest kick off in 2.5 hours, and if West Ham beat Palace, Spurs, whatever those 2 teams do in their last 5 games, we will need to win 2 more than them. So, if West Ham and Forest win one of their last 5 games, we need to win 3. This, for me, is all a little bit too late. It's a bit too late. And unfortunately, this is the squad we've built. I still see people saying it's a good squad. I still see it. It baffles me. Look, have a look at this comment. Look, where was it? Somebody said, but Savva, out of Leeds, Forest and West Ham, Tottenham have the better quality squad. I'll tell you what, I'm taking all 3 of those forward lines. I'm taking Forest's midfield and Forest's defence. I'm taking West Ham's midfield. I think Leeds, by the way, have found a really good formula in midfield with, if anyone's watched them lately, with Tanaka and Stack. Done really well. But again, the difference between when you come to my channel and others is I'm not going to sit here and blow smoke up people's arses. I'm not going to sit here and pretend we're Tottenham, right? And what? A good squad isn't just about paper. A good squad is about, have we bought the right positions for the right formation, for the right strategy, for the right ethos, for the right manager's instructions, with the right, have we bought the right profile to fit a team? And we haven't. We haven't at all. Look at yesterday. We had no left winger, no right winger, right? Porro is not a right back. I've said this for 4 years now. So, again, and this is right, Danny. Bigger names doesn't mean they're better players. This is the problem. I think a lot of Spurs fans have seen that we spend 50 million here, 50 million there, 40 million. We've got a much better team. You're telling me Callum Hudson-Odoi on the left wing for Forest doesn't walk in this team? You're telling me that any of their right wingers, Hutchinson, whoever, doesn't walk in this team? Is Solanke better than Chris Wood? Is he? I don't know. Is he? Not for me. You're telling me that Elliot Anderson and Morgan Gibbs-White don't walk into our team. We're saying that Milenkovic, Ollie Aina, Neco Williams, we're saying these boys don't get into our team. Listen, there's so much more to it. And this whole notion, again, and this is half of the arrogance, this whole notion, that bloody fly has been in my house for, I say that, it's probably a different one. This notion all year, we've got better players than everyone else. If you do a 1 to 11, we've got more players. Oh my good God. Like, stop. These people have not learned. That Matt guy does it every show, doesn't he? Player for player, we're better than Forest. Are we? Based on what? What? Because you said so. Every time we play them, they batter us. They're above us in the league 2 years in a row. What part of our players are better than them? It's crazy. And as always, I don't blame Danso for that game. No, I don't. Danso made a mistake. But I blame the fact we can't score goals. I blame the fact that we have to bring on players who aren't good enough to come on as well. There's a lot of factors to not winning a game. There's a lot of factors. But again, this is the problem. Every single game, one player takes the blame. And I don't know why we're doing it. That game was not lost yesterday, that game wasn't won because of Danso. Last week, we didn't lose because of Gallagher or Bergvall. Against Forest, we didn't lose because of Tell or Solanke. Like, we've got to stop doing this. We've got to stop putting everything on one player. And this is what we've done. Right? This is what we keep doing. And this is why I say as a fan base, we've got to be a bit smarter in our analysis. We can all see the problems at the club, but we bury our head in the sand over and over and over and over again. As I said, we've been the architects of our own downfall. From the owners down to the players, we've been the architects of our own downfall. And what I mean by that is, when we had the chance to buy what we needed, we don't in transfer windows. Right? When we've had the chance to play a playmaker during a relegation battle, we haven't bothered. Right? We haven't bothered. So half of it, I go, we deserve this. Half of it, we deserve. Not the fans. I shouldn't have to caveat that, but I always do. Half of it, we deserve. That fly is really pissing me off. And I can't get to it. Get away. Right? Half of it, we deserve. Because of the way that we blame an individual. Because of the way that we say things. Now, those fans, I don't want Javi starting. Sure. How's that worked out for you? Even before the game yesterday, the same fans that have been telling me for games he shouldn't start. Yesterday, that game, Spurs don't get a point without Javi Simmons. No one else in the team is capable of doing that. All those fans at the beginning of the season, Bentancur shouldn't be playing. Gray should be playing instead of Bentancur because he can pass the ball. What? We've got to get out of this mindset. This isn't one man. Whether it's a manager or a player or a rep, we've got to get out of this mindset that one person is the reason we're not winning games. Spurs didn't win that game yesterday for a number of reasons. You could say Simmons shouldn't have hit the post. We can blame Javi Simmons. You should say Archie Gray could have scored in the last minute. Let's blame Archie Gray. Mawani shouldn't have hit it straight at the keeper to get a corner. He should have buried it. Like, what are we doing here? We can pick out individual moments all day long. But for me, yesterday felt like, for me, why I personally feel happier about yesterday in the main is we went back to basics, didn't we? Mostly everyone was in their right position. Senior pros in midfield for the fight, a back four that was a back four. And it just felt like we'd gone a bit. Now, we can't completely go back to basics because we didn't buy any wingers. But sorry, bear with me a second. But it felt more sensible yesterday. And that's what I've said so far in this run-in in the relegation battle. I felt that West Ham, Leeds, Forest, I feel like they've gone to basics. I feel like those teams have kind of hankered down and gone, right, we're in a fight. We know what we need to do. Spurs, for me, have just been experimenting the last 10, 15 games, just experimenting over 3 managers. And yesterday just felt like we got it right. The midfield 3 worked, didn't it? Basuma, Bentancur, and Gallagher. It worked. One was being box to box. One sat in and snuffed out play. Gallagher went and pressed and joined in at the front. It felt like we got it right, but it feels like we've got it right a little bit too late. And this is why for weeks and weeks and weeks, I've literally sat here and said, can we please stop changing the formation every bloody game? Can we please stop these experiments of playing kids in midfield? Can we please just go back to basics? Tim Sherwood said this, didn't he? About a month ago. Go to basics. Get your senior pros in the team, get them in the right position and ask them to fight for you. And we've waited until 6 games to go. 6 games to go. We waited until 6 games to go. Now, what I really want to see here, what I really, really want to see here is when we get to the next game, please, can we not tinker? Please, I saw it already yesterday. People going, next game, take these 3 or 4 out, put these 4. Oh my God, just stop tinkering with the team. Let's keep it as it is. Get some form of chemistry. Because Paul is absolutely right. 3 wins might be needed to stay up. We need to build some chemistry. I get it. If a player like Maddison gets fit, you get him back in. I get it. He's a special player. But I'm seeing people already go, oh, I'd swap Mawani for Tell. Why? Like, why? Oh, I'd swap out Basuma for Pauli. Why? Like, why would we looked decent. And the problem is when people are asking for Paulinho and Bentancur, if you play the way you played yesterday, it's got to be Basuma and Gallagher because Basuma is your box-to-box and Gallagher will go and press. If you put in Paulinho and Bentancur, in that system, if you're doing a 4-2-3-1, it's different. But if you put them in that system, you don't have your box-to-box. So I think he got it right yesterday. For me, next week, I would go with that 3. Bentancur, Gallagher, Basuma. That is what I would go with. It looked much better. It looked much better. It looked much, much better. I think when that midfield was broken up in the second half, we started to break down as a team. We started to give the ball away more. Brighton started to dictate more. This is not a coincidence. So for me, next week, Basuma and Bentancur should be fitter. They've had minutes in their legs. They're going to have another week of training. They'll look fitter. I get it. Guys, I don't rate Colomawani either. But the problem is they've left us with no wingers, right? They've left us with no wingers. I get it. I don't rate him either. But there's no options. Gary, absolutely. I thought Bissouma and Gallagher were everywhere yesterday. They pressed, they won the ball back, they recycled play. I thought they did really well. Now, doesn't mean I think they're amazing, because I know people get really upset, but they pushed and I mean, you look at, as I said, I went through Gallagher's stats last night. You could see it. For anyone that didn't see it, what he did off the ball as well was brilliant yesterday. Same with Bissouma. How many crosses that Brighton went to get in and Bissouma blocked them, putting it out for a throw or a corner. But for me, let's stop chopping and changing this team. Please, can we just go with the same 11, please, just for once? I can't. Can anyone tell me? Can anyone tell me when was the last time we played the same 11 2 games in a row? I just can't remember it, and I feel like we need it. I feel like we need it. But listen, this is a big day for Spurs. Today and tomorrow, big day. Nottingham Forest playing Burnley in 2 hours' time. Right? Realistically, who here is giving Burnley hope? Realistically. Now, see again, but this is the problem. Look, so you see, this is what I mean. Why? What would Bergvall do yesterday that Conor Gallagher doesn't? Conor Gallagher had a good game yesterday for Tottenham. What on earth does Bergvall do? This is what I mean. We're back to wanting kids in who haven't done anything. This is what I'm saying. We have not learnt as a fan base. Get a team. Go, okay, that worked. That did well. Go again with it. Go again with it. But again, we're at again. Oh, I'd get him in. But, it's, oh my gosh, like, we don't get it. Listen, I thought when he came on, he won the ball well for the goal. Brilliant. But what does he do as an actual footballer? Like Bergvall, for me, I don't really know what he does. I've said this so many times. I don't know on the pitch what he does. And people still keep asking for him. He can't pass. He can't shoot. He can't tackle. He doesn't create. I don't know what he does. But we're still out here going, we need to get Bergvall in the team. You're like, oh my God. Like, I know. And this is what worries me. Like, Sean, go and watch the game yesterday. Again, I can tell when people don't understand football. Go and watch the game. Go and watch the game yesterday. Go and look at the stats yesterday as well for Conor Gallagher's ball recoveries, his duels won, his 50-50s won, his pressing stat. Oh my God. How are people not understanding that? Like, this is when I say some fans deserve relegation. People get annoyed at me, but they truly do. Because this isn't a football game. Sometimes what a player does off the ball is very important. And that is why in midfield yesterday, we looked so much better. Bissouma was allowed to box. Gallagher was allowed to go and press and harry. And Bentancur sat in and let it tick over. At what? At what? At what? Tell me at what, Sean? I love this. People can never give me any evidence. At what? And Chris, this is the thing. I saw it. Last week, Bergvall was absolutely dreadful. I keep hearing, I'll tell you what, I'm going to do it again. I genuinely do not know what people are watching. Right? I genuinely don't know what people are watching. Right? Because we see a midfield that worked better than any of our other midfields have for ages. And then still fans come back in and go, I want to get him back in there. Oh, God, really? Why? It'll be like fans asking for Gray to go back in. See, again, Sean, unfortunately, everyone, Sean doesn't understand football, right? Because I brought up all of Conor Gallagher's stats yesterday. How many times do you think Spurs won the ball back from pressing the goalkeeper with the likes of Solanke and Gallagher? How many times did Gallagher win the ball back in midfield and recycle play? And you're sitting there going, it was nothing to do with Gallagher. It's truly, truly worrying how people don't understand football. Here we go. This is Bergvall. There we go. That's Bergvall. Can't pass. Doesn't win duels. Doesn't win back possession. That's Bergvall. But again, look, better ball control. No. Sorry, Sean. No. Look, this is Bergvall. And again, the problem that we have here is, again, we saw yesterday, right? We saw yesterday a midfield three, a midfield pattern that worked. And still we're out here not realising it. As always, Matt has to walk in saying, I'm wrong about Gray. How much better did we look in midfield without Gray yesterday compared to when Gray was on the pitch? How much better did we look? Because they're not ready. They're not ready. It doesn't mean Gallagher's amazing. It doesn't mean these people are amazing. Sure, but maybe if we play him in a settled team next season, maybe he grabs some goals. Have we ever thought about that? Maybe he grabs some goals. It's too, like, genuinely, when you watch a game like yesterday and you go, God, that's much better. You would think that the fans wake up and go, yeah, I get it. But straight away, we're still back in here going, we want Gray, we want Bergvall. We've not learned. We've not learned. We've not learned at all. And it's the same. Have you noticed? It's the same people that never learn. Sean, I'm talking about over a season. Sean, look. Sean, there's his data, mate. There's his data. He doesn't score. He doesn't assist. Look, this is his data over a season. I cannot believe it. I cannot believe that after yesterday, in a performance that many are saying is the best for a very long time, right, that we're sat back here with people now claiming for Bergvall and Gray to go straight back in the 11. It's truly worrying. I'm truly, truly worried for our club. But again, you're not understanding it. You're not understanding. That would be balanced if you've got two wingers. We don't have wingers. That's the point I'm making. Please listen to what I'm saying. Please listen to what I'm saying. If we're going to play like we played yesterday, then you need to keep the same. Gray is not technical at all. I don't concede what on Gray. Yesterday was the best we've played, and it's the first game for ages Gray hasn't started. Coincidence? No. Bentancur is superior in every way, shape, or form. And look how many people, Lubo was saying it for months. Get Gray in instead of Bentancur. Matt, get Gray in, get Gray in. Said for ages, we miss Bentancur. Doesn't mean I think he's great. Doesn't mean I think he should be in next season. Again, this guy is absolutely fucking clueless. This guy. I don't get it. I just don't get it. I just don't get. Oh, honestly, look, I just do not get it. I will never understand this fan base. We finally see something that looks decent and we want to change it and go back to what's not work. Like, I have no idea what we're doing. I have no idea. And this is what I say. If we go down, right? If we go down, as I said, idiots like Sean and Matt deserve it. If we go down, I truly, truly believe these idiots deserve it. I really, really do. I literally watch Bergvall every game and go, what do you do? Like, what do you do? As I've said this week, 3 components. Your eyes, the stats, and the data. Have a look at all 3. Have a look at all 3. If my eyes tell me something, and I'm not 100% sure, I can go and back it up. But if my eyes, the stats, and the data all tell me the same thing, surely I have to read into that, right? Uncle Jazz, see you later. Anyone? Time out. And agree, this is the point. We've got people talking about Graham Bergvall as though I thought we looked much worse when those two came on the pitch yesterday. I think we looked much worse. Gray, for me, passes the ball 2 yards, 5 yards backwards every time he gets it. He's not ready. Wayne, you're absolutely right. Exactly. Wayne, you're absolutely right. Daniela, you're right. I don't want to see Bergvall and Gravy Wolves. I don't want to see that. I'd have him on as a sub, depending on his fitness. Depends on his fitness, right? I mean, if we're going to do, he got an assist. What you mean? He gave the ball to Simmons, who was 5 yards away from him, who scored a worldie on his own. I mean, sure. Oh, I mean, honestly, yeah, because you've literally. Sorry, you're talking wet. What does that even mean? Right? If I don't get it. If you are watching Bergvall in games and going, that boy has to start, for what reason? For what reason? The game went south when they came on. When Tell, Gray, Bergvall came on, we lost all shape in midfield. Right? And I think you're absolutely right. It's the hope that they're going to become good rather than them actually being good right now. I don't get it. I genuinely thought, I didn't, that we'd wake up today and that people would go, actually, yeah, that midfield looked so much better. Right? Guys, I'm not saying, oh my God. Sorry, how fickle are we? Yes, he set that goal up with the press, but I'm talking about what does he do over 90 minutes? I agree. It should be between those 4 that play the 90 minutes in midfield. This bloke, see, you're just going to get, I don't have an agenda. Mate, I've worked for 2 professional football clubs in youth football. But I also understand the people that work in professional clubs in youth football acknowledge that they must be ready to play, not just fans thinking they're ready. How about you go fuck yourself? Right? Come on and debate me on Bergvall. Come on then. Come on and debate me on Bergvall, Sean. Emitting negative energy year on year. Sorry, you mean I've been right as we've been 17th and now getting relegated? Emitting negative energy. Why haven't you got a picture on your thumbnail? Are you too afraid to show your fucking ugly face on YouTube? Idiot. Absolute idiot. Yeah, I do think we're down, but that's emitting negative energy according to that idiot, Sean. It's mental, honestly. Honestly, absolutely mental. As I've said, right? We don't ever learn. We don't learn. We're not learning now. I don't care that that dickhead Sean goes up and down the country to every game. He doesn't know a good footballer. Just because he goes to the games doesn't mean he knows a good footballer. Let's see him on the show and let him talk me through what Bergvall does. Right? All the data shows he doesn't do anything. The data shows that Bergvall carries the ball with zero end product ever. Right? Let's see Sean come on and explain to us what Bergvall does. Because when people go, it's my opinion he's a good player, cool, back it up. Oh, I like him, cool. But for what? What does he do? Right? You got to know what a player is. I get what Gallagher is and I get what Gallagher isn't. Right? I can't just make it up. I look at his data over my eyes and data over the last 5-6 years of Conor Gallagher being a professional footballer. And you see he's brilliant with his pressing. He's got goals and assists are plentiful in the Premier League. He's captained in the Premier League. His tackling is excellent, right? His work, all of those things. Now I'm looking at Bergvall and people go, but I like him. Cool. But for what? Show me some evidence. He runs around and does nothing. He doesn't score. Look at in his Spurs career. He doesn't score goals. He doesn't assist. He doesn't create. See, look. Come on. Come on. If I'm crying, come on. I'll send you the link. Come on. I haven't lost my head. Let's see you. Come on. Come on. See if I bet you're one of them mongrels who can't get a sentence out. Come on and tell me elegantly, yeah, why Bergvall's a good player. Because I sat in a reception at Chelsea's training ground. You don't know anything about what I did, mate. You don't know any. See, this is what I like. You're a big man in a chat. Come on and talk. Everyone will watch you right now shit your pants because you won't be able to come on and tell me in football terms why he should start above Gallagher. You can't come on and tell me why he should. English tax. I don't know what that means. We're now into the realm of idiots on YouTube. I have no idea. What does the English tax mean? What, because Gallagher's English and Bergvall's Swedish? You think I give a shit where they were born? Like, really? It's crazy. It's absolutely crazy. As I've said, I respect people, right? I respect people that are able to come on and say, this is why I like this player. He does this really well. And we can break it down and go, okay, let's have a look. Let's see if that's the case, right? But these people say, my opinion, cool. But I'm showing you the data and the facts and the evidence that what you're saying isn't true. And you're going, Again, I just thought the midfield looked so much better balanced than anything I've seen with Bergvall and Gray in this year. Gray, for me, is another one. But again, that's not true, is it? Bergvall's done nothing in the game that Conor Gallagher has. Number of goals, number of assists, number of appearances, size of clubs he's played for, he's captained, he's like, what are you doing? This is what I mean. You can't just say these things. Sorry, mate, I'm still waiting for you to confirm your English tax comment. I'm still, again, and notice, like Sean, another one. No picture because they don't want people to see their dumb opinions, right? I mean, imagine, right? One of them, one of these players, right? One of these players one day gets an assist and we all go, oh my God, they're amazing. Honestly, it's so crazy. It's truly crazy. But as I've said, we're not learning. I thought a game like yesterday might make people sit up and go, God, actually, yeah, that's why the senior pros have to play. But no, they're all back in it. As I said, the likes of Matt, right? The likes of Matt. He saw how much better we were yesterday in midfield, but straight away comes back in. Gray should play. What did Gray do that those guys don't yesterday? Right? Sure, but that's not a foot. Sure, but that's sure. Right. I don't even know what to say to that. Well, says the man who's watching YouTube. Look, listen how dumb this fucking clown is. I've got better things to do than sit in my house all down YouTube. He's on YouTube watching YouTube. What a fucking moron. Come on, mate. Notice, everybody, shit his pants. Because you know why? Data isn't important. Evidence isn't important. The eyes aren't important. Because fans like this say stupid shit and then they go like this. Sitting in a reception at Chelsea. What are you talking about? Mate, do you know I'm UEFA qualified and my coaching badges as well? Right? Like, I've worked for 2 professional football clubs, right? Doesn't pay very well. It's not really a great industry to be in. But then you turn around and say, I sat in a reception at Chelsea. What do you think? I was the receptionist. What are you? Just such a weird person. So he can sit in, he can chat shit, and then when he's questioned, he can't come on. Unfortunately, that's it. Right? You got this idiot Gringo. Again, another idiot, right? Another idiot. Right? I hype Gallagher for being English. Why on earth do I care what country any of these men are from? Why? Like, why? 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 I've never understood this, right? I am half Greek, by the way, as well. Why on earth do I care what nation, what nationality a player is? Like, it's truly, truly ridiculous. Honestly, I attract them because I attract idiots like Matt because they don't understand the game and they wanna have an edgy opinion. That's what I've seen. So many people for the last 2 years, they've got edgy opinions on youngsters that have done nothing in football. So why don't I rate Gray? Isn't Archie Gray English? Why don't I rate Dominic Solanke? Isn't he English? And that's the point. That's the point. The moment those two came on, I thought we lost all control. Because you know why? These people like Matt in the chat, right? These people like Matt in the chat, they want to be edgy. They want to go early. Because if you go early and say Gray's generational, if in 3 years he is, you go, I told you 3 years ago. I talk about the now. And the now, he ain't good enough. He's not good enough to be playing midfield. By the way, I don't hype Conor Gallagher. I just think he was perfect for the system yesterday. He was perfect for the pressing game. It worked. Right? It's worked. Again, look, we all know who needs the settle environment. Why? We spent 40 million on him. 40 million. 40 million. Craziness. 40 million, 2 years down the line, I'm still watching and going, I don't know what you do. I don't know what he does. He's just played, 14, 15 games in a row for Spurs, whatever it is. And I'm still watching and going, I don't know. I'm literally sitting there going, I don't know what it is that you do. Like, what's the hook to him as a player? I know what Basuma is. Whether I rate him or not, I know what he is. I know what Gallagher is, whether I rate him or not. I know what Bentancur is. I don't know what Gray is. It's not about not seeing ability. It's about you watched a midfield that worked so much better without him yesterday, right? And the first thing you do is come on and say Gray has to start. It's mind-blowing. As always, Matt, nearly everyone can see we were much better without Gray. You, the contrarian, you have to come on. Oh, Gray should start. Look, none of these players are amazing, hence why we are where we are. But saying a player had a good game isn't glazing them. It isn't thinking they're generational. As I've said, all I want Spurs to do is get players in the right positions. And yesterday, we got Bentancur in his right position. We got Basuma in his right position. And we got Gallagher in his right position. But how can you not like Bentancur when he's a million times better than Gray, who you're sitting in here and telling everyone is great? He is superior to him in every way, Matt. Surely you see that. Bentancur was excellent yesterday. But no, he wasn't terrible, was he? He wasn't terrible. That's ridiculous. And again, it's about the standards. It's about the standards. So when we sit here, right? Who's a racist? Who are we talking about? Who's racist? What are we doing here? What are we doing here? Who's racist? Are you talking about Bentancur? I'm talking about football. Gringo, one more silly comment, you're gone. One more, you're gone. One more, Gringo, you're gone. I'm getting bored of you. One more, you're gone. I know, and this is what makes you laugh, right? So in the last month, you've heard Matt say he doesn't rate Bruno Fernandes, even though he breaks all sorts of records, scores every week, assists every week, right? He doesn't rate Bentancur, but thinks Gray should start in front of it. Like, honestly, how on earth am I meant to take some of this fan base seriously? Like, how are we meant to take... How are we meant to take some of this seriously? When people say just opinions, yes, but what about evidence? What about evidence? I genuinely thought, right? Do you know what? I had non-Spurs fans, right? Look at the state of this. Bentancur, he is bang average and very frustrating. He was superb yesterday. Notice how we haven't won a game since he came out the midfield. Your boy has played nearly every game in midfield, Matt. We haven't won a single game with your boy in midfield. Why? Why? By the way, I don't even... this is the crazy thing, people in the chat, right? This is the crazy thing. People in the chat, you all know, I don't even think Bentancur's amazing. I think Bentancur is a solid Premier League midfielder. No more, no less. I wouldn't even have Bentancur here next year. But compare Bentancur to Gray. Like, it is, there are like 5 levels in between Bentancur and Gray. Right? And this guy's out again, yeah, I don't rate him. And in the same breath going, well, if you don't rate Gray, that's on you. What? And Elijah, big up my man E. Absolutely, he does. He protected that back four. He breaks up play. He puts out fires. He nips in. He does everything that Archie Gray doesn't. And our fans, as I said, deserve relegation. This guy deserves relegation. Wouldn't want Bruno Fernandes in the Spurs team, by the way. Wouldn't want Bruno Fernandes in the Spurs team. Get me Bruno, give him the armband, and let him play wherever the fuck he wants. What are we talking about? Like, how can you... Oh, gosh. How can we do this? Yes, absolutely. I think Conor Gallagher should win the Ballon d'Or. That's absolutely what I said. Yes. And this is the thing, right? Do you know what I'm going to tell you, everybody? I'm going to tell you the psyche of someone like Matt, right? If Rodrigo Bentancur was 20 years of age and we had just bought him, and he was 20 years of age and we'd bought him, Matt would be banging on about how bloody good he is for his age and blah, 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 and he should play. Right? But again, look how much worse we got when Matt's boy came on the pitch. It's absolutely crazy. And still, the first thing the next day, Gray should play. I honestly, this fan base will never, ever not make me laugh. It will never. Look, you had that Sean. Bergval's got to go in. Oh, my gosh. If the takeaway from yesterday's game is that Bergval and Gray need to start, I truly worry about football fans. Truly, truly worried. Honestly, mate, honestly, it's so much hard work. It's so much hard work. Archie Gray should have been bought for 15 million quid and sent on loan. We paid 40 million for him. Right? No, this is not a perfect midfield because you've got no one that goes and presses. You've got no creativity. No, it is not a perfect midfield, Reezy. No, that's a very flat structure of a midfield. But you do. If you're going to claim I'm wrong, bring the evidence. Broadbean. Yes. No. No, I don't know what Sarr does as a footballer. He's like Gray for me. I don't know what he does. I don't know what he does. It's another one. Look, I don't get it. I don't get it. Listen, I thought yesterday was the most positive I've seen us for a long time. And it's for me, it was no coincidence that it was when we removed the kids, the Tells, the Bergvaus, the Great. When they came out, we looked better. No. Now listen to the rest of the sentence. Again, Matt. Again, listen to the rest of the sentence. I said, I don't know what he is. He's like Gray. He's like Sarr. Sarr is like Gray in that I don't know what they are. I don't know what Sarr's position is on a football pitch. I don't know what Gray's is. Gray gets, as soon as Gray came on, what he did, get the ball, 5-yard pass backwards to the centre halves. Bentancur gets the ball and he pushed it 5 yards forward. Huge difference. Bentancur was shielding, winning up there. But hey, our standards are in the bin. There's a reason why as I said, Matt has loved these players 2 years in a row. We're 17th and 18th 2 years in a row. There's a reason why I don't rate many of them, right? 17th, 18th. Right? 17th and 18th. Imagine, honestly, it's so crazy that we have fans that will look at Man United over at Bruno Fernandes and go, yeah, he's not my type of player. Shut up. Shut up. Oh my God, his data, his play. I watched yesterday. Everything good Man United do comes through Bruno. And anyone that says that it isn't technical hasn't watched Bruno in any way, shape, or form. He's a wonderful player. Lights out. I didn't say you don't develop young players, but you can't rely on them to start week in, week out. Next year, if we go down, right? Let's see. Let's see how good Gray is if we go down next year. If he's as good as everyone says, next year he should win Player of the Year in the Championship. Is that fair? Is that a fair enough comment? If he's as good as everyone says, when we go down, let's see him run the midfield. What would the excuse be if that doesn't happen? Because again, what we should have done with someone like an Archie Gray was 15 minutes here, 20 minutes there. But for the last 15, 16 games, we seem to be doing this experiment where he has to play every game. We're overrun every game in midfield. And then people go, oh, Gray was good. What? Because he made a few passes. Like, what are we doing here? And we're not getting it. You've got to remember, by the way, as well, this Matt is the guy that last week said Spurs need a youth project. This is the guy that said we should go and buy more young players and build a youth project. But Spurs fans aren't patient enough for it. Like, it's truly crazy. It's truly crazy. Have a look I'll ask this question. Right? I'll ask this question. Who would you rather have in midfield? Hayden Hackney or Archie Gray? Who would you rather have, Archie Gray or Hayden Hackney? Like, I'm taking Hayden Hackney all day, every day. Like, superior. But we got that Gray. Like, I just don't know what he does. So if you are someone that's been crying out for him to play midfield every week, you can't then complain when we're giving away possession every week in midfield, right? I chuck Lubo into that. Love you, Lubo, if you're watching. Love you. But he wanted all season, beginning of the season, Spurs were picking up points, right? And it was Gray should be playing instead of Bentancur. Get Bentancur out. Get Gray in. How's that worked for us? How's that worked for us? Right? Let them have him. Let them have him. Let them have him. You could be linked to anyone you want. What's that matter? So what? Bergvall was linked to Barcelona. He's now sitting on the sub bench at Spurs. Moments like yesterday, when we're talking about technical players. Yesterday, Archie Gray, right, could have won. I'm not blaming him, but he could have won that game for Spurs. But again, his technical ability, what happened to his technical ability when he took that shot? A little P roller at the goalkeeper. Danny Kiriakou, give me some strength, please. Honestly, I genuinely thought after we played better yesterday, our fans would wake up to what's needed. And we're still here with people wanting to revert back to Bergvall and Gray starting.
No, I don't want to see them starting another game this season. I was saying on Cookie's show just not long ago that it shows the level of where we are right now when you see the drop off when Bentancur and Gallagher come off the pitch. Like, it's not a coincidence that we started getting opened up in the midfield when them two came off the pitch and then the youngsters came on the pitch. It's the very core reason why we are in the situation that we're in. And it's what me and Alex were actually having a debate about, is the fact that when you have to rely on these young players who are not good enough to be first team players, maybe not even good enough for being the players that you need to rely on if your first teamers are injured, right? Then you're going to get this drop off that we've had. And this is exactly why. Like I was saying to Alex, that if we had, like, imagine, Savva, if we had John McGinn on the bench, right? And instead of bringing on Bergvall, you bring on John McGinn. Like, the level between John McGinn and Bergvall is ridiculous, right? But because we're having to bring on the Bergvalls and the Greys, right? We lose control of that midfield, which is exactly what happened yesterday. And I said to Alex that I think the only chance that we have in staying up this season, and I still believe we can do it, is if your players like Javi Simmons and Bentancur and players like the Paulinhas all stay fit, because they're the best chance we've got of staying up. So when you look at the squad that we've had over the last couple of years, we've always relied on, and if you think about it, players like Bergvall, Gray, Sarr, these players, they never would have played if we had senior professionals in the squad when our actual senior professionals got injured, right? They never would have really seen a lot of minutes, but they were heavily relied on by Ange and by Frank and by Tudor and by well, not now by De Zerbi, because we luckily enough got Bentancur and Basuma back, but those players were heavily relied on. And that's why we kept losing the midfield and battle all the time. And then that forces the defense to take more pressure, because we can't control it in the midfield, right? There's no coincidence why we keep conceding goals when we've got a midfield that can't control the ball, can't keep it. Like yesterday, when them guys came off and Bentancur and Gallagher came off, I saw the same patterns that I was seeing before, which was that we just keep giving the ball back to them every single time, and then it kept coming back at us. And there was one moment in the game where the commentator was saying that that and I think it was so evident to see that we were taking on a lot of pressure, and it's because that we can't control it in the midfield, right? And it's also the very reason why I believe Solanke is being picked over Richarlison, because he offers more as an overall footballer than what Richarlison offers, right? So it's clear to see, and I can't understand why people cannot see that. And yeah, I think our only chance of staying up is those players have to be fit. Bentancur, Gallagher, Javi Simmons, these players. I'd even go as far as saying Kingsky needs to stay in goal. Like, he has to stay in goal. So
I agree, Danny. The worrying thing for me, and I'll bring in Alex here. The worrying thing for me, Danny, is I've said this all along. We don't seem to learn, and I think that's what's more worrying for me, Danny.
Yeah,
like, anytime we seem to have something good happen, like, and I'm saying yesterday, good in terms of it was better, right? It was better performance, same outcome. We straight away, instead of saying, building like I've got fans of other clubs messaging me going, yeah, you should stick with that now, stick with that next week. And I'm like, yeah, stick with it. Just keep going. Don't change it. Don't mix the formation. Don't go to a back three. Don't just go with the same team again, whatever. We straight away, the next day, our fans going, yeah, well, what we need to do is Gallagher's got to drop out and Bergvall's got to go in and Gray's got to come in for Basuma and Tell's got to come. It's almost like, Danny, we don't watch the games and go, let's stick with it. We feel like we need to tinker, and we're not learning that is what's got us in so much trouble this year, is the constant chopping and changing of the 11 and the formation.
Yep. Agreed. And also, do you not think it's telling, Savva, that correct me if I'm wrong, but I don't think Sarr was in the matchday squad, was he?
No.
Yesterday. So it's quite funny that people talk about Sarr, and I've been saying about Sarr for so long that he should be nowhere near this football team. And the fact that he was dropped, and we actually had we actually had a better bench yesterday. But even though, when you look at the benches yesterday, you've got more senior professionals on Brighton's bench than you had on our bench, right? So, like, it just goes to show, like, where we still are right now. And for me, we have to stick with this. This for me, that team yesterday is the best team we could field right now. Maybe the only person that I'd change in that team is Muwani for Tell. And that's not because I think Tell was a better player or anything like that. I just think that if you're going to change anyone, it's going to be him. That's it. No one else. Purely because he might offer you something a little bit different, a bit more control. He might not offer you, I don't know, because they both don't really offer much. But I do think that Tell's ability to cross a ball is better than Muwani's. So that's the only thing I'd go on.
Alex, let me bring you in. It's a difficult one, mate, because, you know, as much as you want to be upbeat and positive about things we saw yesterday, unfortunately, we've ended up with the same outcomes that we've been getting all season. But as far as the actual team selection went and the way we went about the game, it was better, right? It looked like we were actually in the game and actually fighting for Premier League survival.
Better performance in terms of seeing the midfield, because I think I'm not his biggest fan. Bentancur, was very good in terms of the way he kept the ball, getting the ball back and stuff. Still up front were crap as far as I'm concerned. Javi Simmons had a mixed game for me. Danzo had a good game up to he made a mistake, but it's not his fault because it's been the whole season the way that we've been playing. And Kinski for me, keeps the shirt. But other than that, and it was a great goal from Javi Simmons. I was right behind it because I was at the game. But other than that, I stick by what I say. We're not going to win any games at the moment. I think we're only going to get draws out of the 7, and I'm not changing from that right now. The only hope we have is if
what's the main reason for that? I'm not saying I necessarily disagree with you.
We've got no goals. we've got no goals and creativity. We're relying on Javi Simmons, who looked like he was going to get injured. He looked like he was injured, and we're playing with 10 men. That's why we let in the goal. But Brighton were actually dominating our midfield in that mid-game, throughout the game as well. Maddison couldn't even get on the pitch. And for me, you need somebody else to create as well. Mwani's absolutely goddamn useless. I'm sorry, I don't, maybe he had a few moments, but Solanke did nothing for me in the game. Then, yeah, okay, cool. Maybe you could have an argument for Tell to play instead of Mwani, but I mean, it's chalk and cheese as far as I'm concerned. But yeah, it was clear to me yesterday that when you play, experienced players like Bentancur, for the things that he can give us in terms of, experience, control on the ball, that just shows you what happens in a team. They're a little bit more competent, a little bit, but still, Brighton still dominated us.
Alex, do you know what? I completely agree with you. Right, I agree with everything you said there. The performance was better, which isn't saying much because the performances have been so bad this year. But the performance was better. But like you, I don't know where goals are coming from. Like I genuinely, we are not a team that. We don't have waves of attack. You know what I mean? Like, sometimes when you watch a team and for 15 minutes they're on top and it feels like they're going to... We're not that team. We don't have those players. Whether it's Tell... Let's be brutally honest, Alex. I'm going to say this. If this pisses off Spurs fans, I couldn't give a shit, right? Tell, Mwani, Solanke, Richie. None of them are good enough. None of them should ever have been bought to Tottenham Hotspur. None of them are good enough, right? And at the moment, that's what we're relying on to get us goals. But Stell broke it down brilliantly yesterday, Alex. He said, if you look at the last 3 games, right? If you look at the last 3 games, no goals against Forest, right? That was Solanke, Richie, Tell, right? No goals against Sunderland. That was Richie, Solanke, Mwani, right? We managed 2 goals yesterday, right? Both via Javi Simmons. So none of these forwards are actually contributing to anything. None of them ever look like they're going to get the ball, beat a man, whip a... Do you know what I mean, Alex? None of them ever look like they're going to create something out of nothing. And because of that, that's why I think we go down. I don't know where the goals are coming from. Sorry if that offends people. I just don't know where they are coming from.
It shouldn't offend people because we've seen this the whole season. So it's not nothing new. You know what I mean? He's not said anything new at all. Like why is him when he get offended? Yesterday, as soon as Archie Gray came on, and Bentancur came off, and Basuma came off because Basuma was getting a bit too heated and he was going to get himself sent off. It went downhill, completely downhill. And it's not like we were dominating the ball anyway, because Brighton was still getting chances. You know what I mean? It was off the post by Van der Ven in one of the moments in the first half. So you know what I mean? It's like, again, my eyes haven't been lying to me the last how many weeks. You know what I mean? I said it in the crowd and people didn't like it. I was sitting with Ben from We Are Tottenham TV, and I have on this conversation with him. I hate the fact that I have to have one because he's lovely and he takes it. He's got all the heart in the world, but it's like I sat there and said, I can see Brighton just soaking up the pressure, and because they've got no pressure on them, they'll score a goal. I didn't see Matoma's goal coming in.
That was a great finish.
That just came. That shocked me. You know what I mean? Absolutely shocked me. And
every time we play Brighton, Matoma turns into the best player in the world. Every time we play Brighton.
I'm not blaming the celebration from Javi Simmons because that goal was absolutely fantastic. If you're behind that goal in the stadium, it was absolutely brilliant. Absolutely fantastic goal. And he was having a frustrating game, by the way. Very frustrating game, showing us what his weaknesses is. He's very tough. He's very weak on the ball. He gets busted the ball too much. He's not tough enough. He's not tough enough at all for the Premier League, 100%. But honestly, that frustration was coming out of that celebration. You could understand why he was celebrating the way he was. Even I was celebrating. You know, Mr. Box Office. I'm not that guy. I'm a very honest guy. I don't care. I don't give a monkeys. You know what I mean? Because, like, you know, at the end of the day, when we get relegated, it's going to say Tottenham Hotspur got relegated to the Championship. You know, no question mark, no star, no referees, nothing. Just that statement, that fact. That's it. Simple. You know. So
yeah, Danny, I'll bring Danny in. Just before we do, what I love is this guy says the idea that the players aren't good enough is getting old. I feel it's a lazy take. Sorry, aren't I getting proved more and more right as every single game and season goes on, though? Like, I love people like this. Again, no name, no picture. I love them, right? Sorry, which players are good enough? Richarlison has 8 goals. Solanke has 2 Premier League goals. Mawani has 1. Tell has 3. I think Odegaard has 1. Where am I wrong? Who are you seeing that's good enough that I'm not seeing? I don't understand. And this is what I mean, Danny. When I say things like some fans deserve it, I think it's fans like this because it doesn't matter, right? It doesn't matter what defeats we see, Danny. It doesn't matter that we go 15 without a win. It doesn't matter that we've lost 38 of our last 70 games. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter that we've lost 50 of our, like Danny, I'm sure you saw this the other day. It doesn't matter that this is our last 100 games, right? We've still got fans like he says his name's Jacob saying these players are good enough. Danny, all the data says they're not good enough. The league positions say they're not good enough. The number of defeats say they're not good enough. And then people like Jacob are telling me it's lazy and that the players are good enough. How can I make that make sense, Danny, in my head?
Yeah, no, it's very difficult to make it make sense. You can't. The like what you guys were talking about with, I don't disagree with a lot of the stuff you said. It is why that I believe that when we did have Frank, he was utilizing what I think he thinks was the only way that we could score, right? Or one of the very few ways we could score, which was from corners, which is why we were so high at scoring from corners. We were scoring a lot of corners when he was here, right? And we were picking up points. We might have not got wins all the time, but we were picking up points. And I think that's why that he focused on trying to get as much as possible from the long throws and the corners and this kind of stuff, because our players just are not good enough from a technical ability with who we had available to actually score goals. Because if you look at if Javi Simmons wasn't playing, we weren't creating a lot of chances, right? And that's what's this crazy thing, is that all the players that we had that were creating chances from this season and last season. So if we're going to talk about Kudus, Kulusevski, Maddison, Son, all of those players were not either available, not here, or injured, right?
Yeah.
So the only player that we had that was actually creating chances was Javi Simmons. And when he wasn't playing because of the mismanagement of Javi Simmons, right, then where were our chances going to come from? Now, the problem you've got is that when you've got strikers like Richarlison and Solanke, regardless that Solanke was not fit for the first half of the season, those are the type of players that need 5, 6, 7 chances before they get a goal, right? Mm-hmm. That they can score goals, right? But the problem is they need lots of chances to score goals. They're not like a Son Heung-min where it's 1 chance, 1 goal, or Harry Kane, 1 chance, 1 goal, or 2 chances, 1 goal. They're not that level of player. So they need a lot of chances, right? And that's been the problem, is that we don't have players that can give these players enough chances to score goals. And then when they do get maybe 3 or 4 chances, it's still not enough for them. And they can't put the ball in the back of the net because they're just not good enough. So this is where the problem has lied, and which is why we have not big up. And it's why we have not scored enough lately. And it's why when you play midfielders like Bergvall and Sarr and Gray, it adds all to that, because those players, number one, are just not good enough for Premier League football. not to be starting players, not to be second team, second rate players, right? They're good for being like the sort of player you bring on for the last 5 minutes when you're winning a game or something like that, last 10 minutes in a game, not players you bring on 30 minutes to go and then you've got added time on top of that. So nearly a 40 minutes and you have to rely on them to see out the game. When you do that,
Agreed.
this is exactly the reason why we drew the game yesterday.
But I don't get it, Danny. Like when people are saying this squad is good enough not to be an 18th, but
no,
the
squad.
The squad is the reason we're in 18th. I think what's happening here, lads, I think people are confusing first 11 and squad, right?
But they're also confusing Savva, who is available.
No, but this is my point, Danny. That's my point, right? This squad, which is the entirety of the squad for 2 years in a row, has shown when we get some injuries, this team is 17th and 18th, right? And I will keep saying this, right? If you can pick a fully fit 11 all season, sure, we're nowhere near there. But that's not how football works, right? That's not why squads were invented, Danny.
No.
Clubs have to buy for eventualities of injuries, right? What Spurs have got is when we have injuries, we're having to bring in loads of kids who aren't good enough. So the squad, by definition of the word squad, isn't good enough to cope. 17th, followed by 18th. If we are not going to learn of how bad this is why when I say people deserve it, because they're not looking at the evidence. And by the way, this graph I put up, lads, this is from the moment Johan Lang joined the football club.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
By the way, from that, yesterday, this is actually worse. We're actually below West Ham because one of the wins comes off this and it's replaced by a draw if you go for the last 100, right? So that data is nearly 3 entire seasons. I'm not attacking Jacob. I'm not attacking you as a person. I don't understand your point, mate. You're telling me it's a lazy argument the players aren't good enough. You're saying the squad's too good to be where it is. But I'm showing you that for nearly 3 years of data, Tottenham have only got more points in the Premier League than Wolves. Yeah. So if you don't want the data and the stats and the evidence and you can't see it, I don't know what you're trying to say to me is my point. I'd love people like you to come on and explain. You think the squad's good. Okay, we lost 22 games last year and we've lost 16 games this year so far. Right?
And we've scored 20 goals less as well.
That's why I'm saying that. That's why I said that Fabio Paratici leaving said a lot of messages to me. And again, I didn't rate him to remind people. It's a case of he knew the role. And again, it's down to you, Savva. You know that me and you think the same way here because it's not that I watch you and copy you. It's just we know football. The identity and the philosophy and the plan is the problem at Tottenham right now, right? The whole thing is that at the moment. But when you show that graph since Johan Lang, it shows you what a mess we are in terms of upstairs, and that's where I think it's trickled down, and it's come to the point where these consequences of how it's been run since Daniel Levy's left. Now you've seen the consequences of what we're seeing at the moment. You see what I'm saying? And where we should have done more this season to avoid this from happening, because if we did, in terms of being more proactive in what we want to do in the transfer window to get the right players in right now, I don't think we would have been in this position in terms of having to rely on our senior players like Bentancur, Basuma, Javi Simmons, Maddison to be fit to give us a little bit of hope. You know what I mean? You know, that's Alex, where we're at the moment.
So many chances, Alex. We've had so many chances in the last 3, 5 years, whatever years. Yeah, we've had 100%. So many chances to buy properly in transfer windows, right? And if you look at our last 4 transfer windows, I'll tell you what. Let's look at the last 6 transfer windows, right? because this is where I felt for Ange as well, right? This is where I feel for all the managers, whether I rate them or not, Alex, is not the point to this conversation, right?
No. Yeah.
You look at, I thought Ange's first window, I thought they gave him a good window, right? You know, Maddison, Van der Ven, you know, I thought, you know, it was a good window. Then Spurs decide, right? Then Spurs decide, what we're going to do in the window, we're going to go and buy Timo Werner on loan, right? And we're going to buy Radu Dragusin, centre half, who completely doesn't fit an Ange Postecoglou style of play. We then get to the summer. You're going, all right, okay, we finished 5th. Okay, cool. What are we going to do in this summer? Right? We go out and buy Dominic Solanke as a record fee for 57 million. Bergvall, Gray, Odegaard, and Yang. Right? Not Yang. Yeah, Yang. Right? You're thinking, what is this? And Timo Werner on another year loan. Right? We then get to January and you're going, right, we're in a mess. We're in a relegation battle. What are you going to do, Spurs? What do? We go and buy Danso, who was a sub centre back. And if I'm not wrong, Matisse Tell on loan. So you're then thinking, okay, right, you've got to the summer. We've nearly got relegated last year. Luckily, we didn't because the team's blast was so bad. And you're thinking to yourself, Alex, right, Spurs, you have just had a glimpse into the future. You have just seen what happens with the squad you've got when you get injuries. It's not good enough, right? We've crept into the Champions League by winning the Europa League. Right. What are you going to do in this window to show that things are changing? So they bring in a new manager and then have another crap transfer window, Alex. They bring in Matisse Tell, and you're like, why would you buy him off the back of that loan piece? They bring in Kota Takai for 5 million, who's never going to see a game in a Spurs shirt. They re-sign Ben Davis for another year's contract, right? Kudus, great signing. They bring in Paulinho on loan, which tells you that there's no plan, Alex, for the future because you're bringing in someone for 1 year. So you can't build around that. So you know there's no project. They then panic because James Maddison goes down injured, and they panic and they bring in Javi Simmons. So I like Javi Simmons, but again, it was panic because Maddison got injured. It wasn't planned. And then they panic because Solanke gets injured on the last day of the window, and they go and bring in Mawani on loan, who didn't want to be here. Now, when you look at those last 4 windows, Alex, which I believe is something like 500 million, it's something ridiculous. Like, it's a lot of money, right? Can you please tell me, what were we buying for? Who were we buying for? What style were we buying for? Why have we bought loads of kids? Why have we bought no senior pros?
Yeah.
What's the project? So when you look at this, this has not happened overnight.
No.
For people that think, sorry, I know I'm on a rant, right? But when people say this year, this isn't just this year. This is absolute years of neglect. This is years of bad transfer windows and neglect. And Phil Coys, I hate agreeing with him. They got a lifeline. They got Champions League money. They got Champions League revenue, right? And that was their lifeline, and they fucked it. They went cheap again. They didn't do what they needed to. And Spurs are in this mess because this is what we've bought. Sorry, rant over.
I agree with you. I agree with you. Well, you know I agree with you because I've been saying this for you. This is why I pass caring, Savva. It's got to a point, yeah, I mean, and this is going to be even more reality when we go down. When Vinay and Lang go, even if we get somebody good, I don't think they're going to last 2 minutes because I think they're going to sit there and think, do you think I really want this? Do I want this hassle? And they'll go. You know what I mean? I just don't trust anything to happen. I've got to the point now where I'm saying in it out, Savva. And that's the most unrealistic thing coming out of my mouth. I know that's deluded because I don't live in Disneyland, but I don't think anything's going to change at the moment. I think it's got to that point now where they've had so many. I've seen so many things that have happened over the years, and You know what I mean? And so I can't see them deciding on something that is going to be a plan. And I know what needs to happen now, a plan and identity. And I don't think it'll ever happen in my lifetime with them in charge. So to me, at the moment, you know, what we're seeing on the pitch is just is things that we've seen all season and how many seasons now for a long time now. And it's only got worse now because a certain Harry Kane and Heung-min Son were carrying us a lot as the season's gone on. You know what I mean? And we had a go at Eric Dyer, and I've heard people saying that Eric Dyer would be good in this team right now. So you know what I mean? Where are we going with this? I mean, I think Barry's going to absolutely have me to shreds right now. Would you take an Emerson Royale right now in this team right now? Would you take an Emerson Royale right now?
It's a good question.
Some people would argue yes. Some people say no. You know what I mean? So, you know what I mean? This is why I said about the Harry Winks thing. And to be fair to Lubo, he admitted it when he had a go at me. Not ever got him back because he did admit to me and said sorry to me about it. You know, Savva, I would sell Archie Gray. I'll sell Burval if we have money. If they gave us money, sell them. I've got no emotion to it. And to last point, to deserve his credit, like we did with Pochettino did with Holtby back in the day, because I look at Holtby, it's kind of similar to Sarr. Credit to him. He said, sorry, Sarr, you're not cutting it. You're not going to do anything in my team right now. You're not the sort of player I need. You're not in the team. You're not in the squad. Credit to him. Credit to him, because we haven't got time to have players that are just not going to be able to help us anymore. You know what I mean? You know,
this is where I don't agree with Alex, because I don't think Gray is the type of player that you sell. Yes, we've paid a lot of money for him, but that's not the problem. Is that we didn't buy seasoned professionals to add with him. Like you don't just sign Gray as the player that's going to be your first team option. Like you just don't, right? Like was what we were discussing earlier. Like if you're going to buy players, right? Gray, I think, is a good young player, but it doesn't mean that I want him to be the person that we have to rely on. If Gray is in the squad, right? The problem that Spurs have is Spurs spent a lot of money on someone like Gray and didn't bring in better quality around him, right? They didn't bring in like an actual play at the level of someone like Paulinho or a McGinn or whoever it is, whoever it could be, right? When you only bring in that player and then for the money that they brought him in for, it's a disgraceful management of this football club and this team, right? So someone like Gray and Bergvall and Odebear, I don't mind them at Spurs as long as they are players that are sort of the young players in the squad that you can help bring into the team. But you've got to have a team full of quality players or seasoned professionals.
Danny, they need a team to come into, right?
Yeah, and that Savva as well.
I know I'm harsh on them. Where I feel for them is if you are just buying young kids because they're good young kids for the sake of young kids, you're not actually bringing them in with a plan.
No.
So, for example,
exactly.
if let's have the hypothetical conversation. By the way, guys, I'm going to go until a maximum of 1:10, and then I do need to go out and do a few bits. Let's say that Tottenham stay up. Hypothetical, lads, right? Tottenham stay up, and we're playing one game a week next year. Okay, we're playing one game a week. What I want Spurs to do is I want us to get a loose 11. Do you know what I mean? I want us to get this is the 11 that starts mainly, right? And then behind that, you want to know, right, who are my reliable man 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, right? Because let's be brutally honest, you don't need a 25, 20, 30 man squad because you're playing once a week. What I want to know is the players that are kept, what have they been kept for? What is the tactic? What is the formation? And what are they being kept for? So, i.e., if De Zerbi says, this is my style, I'm going to play 4-2-3-1, I don't know, whatever, right? And I'm keeping Archie Gray as my sub midfielder because that's the position I want to develop him into behind this senior pro. right? I've got no problem with that, Danny. But what we've done over the last 3, 4, 5 years, we've just gone and bought all these players: Gray, Bergvall, Tell, Odegaard, Ashley Phillips, Yang. We've got no Takai. We've got no idea what they bought any of those kids actually for, because we don't have a set way of playing. We don't have a system. We don't have a formation. So right now, so far in the last year, I've heard that Archie Gray is a right back. I've heard that Archie Gray is a 6. Now I'm hearing Archie Gray's an 8. You know why none of us know? Because none of us have any idea what we are and what he was bought for. Right? And the other clubs around us are not doing this. So when I say around us, use Aston Villa as an example. I always use them as an example because this is a really well-run club, right? Who over the last 4 years have challenged for top 4 every year, right? They're about to get it again this year. Okay, dude, listen, I'm just going to warn you, just one more silly comment, you're going to go. I'm not scapegoating the youngsters. Listen to what I'm saying. I'm actually saying I feel sorry for them. Listen to what I'm saying, right? If you had listened to what I said we've bought senior pros who aren't good enough, right? So one more silly comment, you are going to go, right? I can see, I've never seen your name before. You're coming in here, you're trolling. One more, right? So back to my point, Danny, right? You take a team like Aston Villa. Aston Villa, over the years that I can remember, have bought 2 youngsters. Now, someone might tell me I'm wrong. They brought 2 proper youngsters into their team. And that is Morgan Rogers a few years back, right? And Maatsen, the left back. Now, Maatsen came in. He's got Digne in front of him. So he's got a seasoned French international, Premier League, hundreds of games in the Premier League, Digne in front of him, right? Morgan Rogers came in, went straight into the team. They had a plan for him. Gone straight in. Look at everyone else they bought, Danny. Right? Senior pros like Matty Cash. Right? Onana. Tielemans. Yeah? John McGinn. Right? Who else did they buy? Douglas Luiz. Right? They bought in, when they went and got people on loan, we got youngsters like Tell. They went and got people like Marcus Rashford and Asensio. Right? This is the difference. Aston Villa got 1 or 2 youngsters over a 3 or 4 year period and built the squad of pros. What did Tottenham do? We've just bought youngster after youngster after youngster. And we have no idea what they've been bought for, because you know what? We change the manager every year, it seems. We change philosophy every year, it seems. And I'm not scapegoating the youngsters. But the problem is, if as a fan you are asking for the youngsters to start, don't then be surprised when you are not winning games because you've got loads of youngsters. I'm not blaming the youngsters. I'm blaming the club. But does all that make sense?
Yeah, 100%. It's what I've kind of been saying, is that, and it's what I was trying to say to Alex earlier, is that the problem is that we've had to rely on these youngsters as our first team, right? Like you just said, you mentioned 2 youngsters that Villa brought in. They probably have a few more. But the problem is, like you said, Villa had brought in Rashford on loan to cover when they needed some cover. They brought in Asensio on loan to help them last season, the back end of last season on loan, right? They brought in quality, and we just didn't do that. We still brought in youngsters. And this is the biggest problem that we have. And I can't understand why. I was so happy that I didn't see Sarr in the squad yesterday. Like, for me, it's like I don't want to see him anywhere near Spurs again.
But Danny, listen to this Villa 11. Bearing in mind, Villa played in Europe during the week. Villa's 11 is Martinez, Cash, Konza, Mings, Maatsen, Onana, Tielemans, McGinn, Barkley, Rogers, Watkins. There's not a kid to be seen, right?
No,
By the way,
none.
Maatsen now is 24, right? And Morgan Rogers is 24 in 2 months, right? You then look at their bench, right? Their bench is Tammy Abraham, Leon Bailey, Bizzo, Bogard, Buendia, Digne, Luis, Vindeloff, and Sancho.
Yeah, they've
This is
got a very good
It's
bench.
not a squad where what they're doing is, if Onana doesn't play, they bring in Douglas Luiz. What we're doing is going, oh, right, Bentancur's got to come off, got Archie Gray, you go in.
Yeah, it's ridiculous.
And
This
that's
is
why
that's the example that I was saying, though. This is exactly the example I'm saying. If you're selling an Archie Gray, you could get in an experienced player with him. Like, you know what I mean? Because, like, look at Elliot. Was it Elliot that went from Liverpool to Aston Villa? He only had a few games there, and they realised, you know, unfortunately, this isn't going to work out. So they sent him back to Liverpool. You know what I mean? So they ain't got time. They haven't got time. They need it, you know. So they've realised that they need to get experienced players in there, and if they're going to get young players in, they're 2-3 players down, 2-3 players on the pecking order. You get what I'm saying? Like a Man City, you know, you wouldn't see a proper youngster in for in the first team straight away if the main player gets injured. And my argument is that, you know, we should just, you know, if there's an offer for one of those youngsters and it's a good offer, I would take it and use it to improve the squad. And I think that's where we're at the moment as a club at the moment. I mean, forgetting what's going on, the bigger picture, for me at the moment, I think if you're going to have the same attitude with Sarr, I think we're going to have the same attitude with the players that we've got at the moment. Sorry. You know what I mean? You know?
You look at this is right. I'm guessing this is Stell, by the way. Big, I think it's Stell. But you think about it, right? Gray, 40 million. Tell, 40 million if you include the loan fee as well. Odegaard, 25 million. That's 105 million. Bergvall, 8 million, right? That's 113 million. We then spent whatever we spent on Yang, whatever we spent on Papa Sarr. We're bringing in all of these young players over the last 5 years. Name one of them that is a guaranteed first team starter all these years later.
None,
right?
None.
And that's 150 million of our transfer budget, Alex.
And you keep on. And the thing is, though, you have said this, and it said to me as well when I criticise them, they're young. I'm fed up of hearing that. I'm fed up of hearing that. I'm fed up of hearing it. It's like, well, I'm sorry. No, if you're in the squad, you're good enough.
Yeah.
Well, don't put him in the squad at all. You know what I mean? Because, like I said, the statement, when we get relegated, it won't talk about Archie Gray are young, you know, Bobo are young. We're relegated. They're the ones that are in charge, are the ones that are responsible for getting us relegated as well, because they're part of the team. You know what I mean? So,
mate, Alex, do you know what? If Spurs had a really good squad, right, and we're doing well, and Spurs turn around and go, right, we're going to buy these two youngsters for, 40 million between them. You turn around and go, cool, brilliant. We've got our first 11. We've got our squad. Start developing them. But we've bought, I mean, if I think off the top of my head, right, this is just off the top of my head, feel free to join in, right? We've bought, in the last 5 years, Kinski as a young goalkeeper, right? Ashley Phillips, Vuskovic, Adogi was 20 when we signed him, right? Takai, right? Sarr, Gray, Bergvall, Yang, Tell, Odegaard, Valise. I think I'm missing one, but that's 12 youngsters in the last 5 years, right? We bought 12 youngsters in the last 5 years, right? Not one of those youngsters I've just named, Adogi, right? I'd say he was playing for Udinese in Serie A. Adogi is the only one I think I've mentioned there who is a guaranteed starter in the 11, right? That's 12 young players. I don't know if anyone in the chat can work that out for me, how much those 12 cost. It must be nearly 200 million for those 12 young players. Now, what most clubs would do, Alex, in that time is go, right, let's spend 25 million on some youngsters, 2 youngsters at 12 million each, and use the other 180 million or whatever, the other 175 million to go and actually buy first team players that we need. And this is why they're young. They're young. If you buy young players by design, you can't then use that as the excuse when they're in the first team squad. You've bought them on purpose. We didn't buy them. It's Alex, it would be different, right? It would be entirely different, Alex, if we turn around and said, we've got loads of injuries. We've had to play Lancashire, Donnelly, Ulasesi. Yet we go, they're youngsters. They're from the academy. They're kids. But when you've bought all of these youngsters in front of our academy, how can we then turn around and go, oh, but they're young? Like the excuse now that they're young. How many years has Gray been a pro footballer? How many years has Bergvall been an international? How many years has Adogi played? How many? Like, it's crazy.
We haven't won a game. We haven't won a game since. I mean, I think we won the game against Crystal Palace. That's the last game. But since then, it's only been one game with Archie Gray midfield, and we've not won a game since.
Agreed.
So, like for me,
Agreed.
and this, unfortunately, facts are taking over me. And like I say, I've been at the stadium when I didn't even want to be at the stadium. I'm grateful for it because Danny's given me his ticket, so thank you for that. But the point is, though, I just, my eyes have not been lying to me. You know what I mean? And like I said, yesterday was nothing different to what I've seen before, and I thought it was done after Nottingham Forest. You know what I mean? So you know what I mean? It's like, you know, De Zerbi's only doing what he's done at clubs when he's gone in mid-season. I'm not talking about Marseille. I'm talking about Brighton. There was somebody else as well. He doesn't win in 6. He doesn't win in 6, you know, because it takes time, you know, and he will get the biggest credit in the world if he keeps us up because he's keeping positive. He has to do that. Well, but Alex, this is on the players. This is on the players, right? This was on the players, these 7 games. It wasn't on De Zerbi. This was on the players. And the players have let us down out of the season.
It was also on the board, Alex, for not buying
players
in January when we needed players.
Danny, we've talked to death. You know what I mean? We all know that. You know what I mean? It speaks for itself. Yeah. That's why we should protest, but that's another story. That's another debate for another time. My point is, at the moment, this was on the players that were get all big time, yeah, when Frank got sacked and Eagle Tudor went. You know what I mean? They're doing the same thing this season. I'm sorry, I can't lie anymore.
For wanting us to play the likes of Bergvall and Sarr and the Grays. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Even Romero. I think Romero's been an absolute fucking disgrace this season.
I agree. Look, guys, I do need to wrap up. I've got some bits to do. Guys and girls, I'll do a few super chats just to let you know. So Burnley will be our new favourite team in 50 minutes when they play Nottingham Forest. I've looked at the team. Forest have gone strong. Even though they were in Europe midweek, they have gone strong. I'll be honest. I hope I'm wrong, everyone. I can't see anything but a Nottingham Forest win. No. And if Nottingham Forest win that, they go. Let's just quickly before we go, let's look at the Premier League table. There's the Premier League table, guys and girls. If Nottingham Forest win that today, they go 5 clear of us. Leeds are 8 clear of us. And as I said before, if Nottingham Forest and West Ham win in the next 24 hours, right? That means whatever those 2 clubs do in the last 5, we have to do 2 wins better.
Yeah.
Good.
Good.
So that means that if West Ham were to win 1 of their last 5, we need to win 3.
Good. Because that's consequences. That's consequences of the summer and the January transfer window. Sorry, Savva. You know, I text you, and it wasn't nothing malice spite, but you know why I text you what I said. Yeah, you know, I can't do this Man United fan, Burnley fan. No, you do your job. You do your job to get 40 points. If you can't get 40 points, I'm sorry. We bring it on ourselves. I'm sorry, I can't do this anymore.
Unfortunately, Alex, it's not in our hands anymore.
I feel embarrassed. I'm even doing that right now. So you want to end the show? So that's me done.
Yeah,
but, I'm not Mr. Popular on that one. But I'm sorry, it's not me on the pitch, and it's not me that's at the stadium, and not me making decisions. If it is, pay me to make decisions. I might be doing better than what they're doing right now. I'm sorry.
I blame Savva for it. He makes the decisions.
Yeah, no.
I do.
Yeah, but anyway, you have that in the show. Sorry.
Yeah, listen, guys, I'm going to leave it. Let me do some super chats quickly. But look, as I said, we better hope Burnley pull something out the park here today. And bearing in mind, this is a Burnley team that don't win games of football just like us. And this is a Nottingham Forest team that haven't lost in 4. I think it's 7 or 8 if you add the Europa League. But let me do some super chats. Big up to Aussie Coys. Thank you so much, Aussie Coys. Always very generous, as is Phil Coys. Phil P. Big up to you, Phil P. Really appreciate that. You were a Reds love. Big up to you for becoming a new YouTube member. Thank you so much, my man. I really appreciate that. And Wayne Holland, I don't know when our fans are going to learn. We never, ever seem to learn. Honestly, whenever we don't win, we blame refs, we blame pundits, we blame the pitch, I don't know why we can't learn.
We blame Savva.
This is years and years and years of neglect. And if we stay up, this is yet another opportunity for them to learn. And yes, another opportunity that they will pass up to learn and change their ways. And that is the worrying thing. Guys, I'm going to leave it there. Please get over to Alex, Mr. Box Office TV, and subscribe to his channel as well. Look,
Distunes.
I know people think I'm negative. I know people send me messages saying I'm spouting my negativity over. Listen, 15 games without a win. At what point does negativity become the truth? At what point does it stop becoming negativity and it becomes the reality? Guys, come on, Burnley. I'm not gonna end my show as normal. Enoch out.
Up the Clarets.
And come on, Burnley.